What would you do if the man you married turned out to be lazy? Would you pack your bags and run for your peace? Or would you stay and keep the marriage alive no matter the stress? If this thought has your mind turning in circles, then sit back, relax, and get ready for this hot gist I'm about to give you.
The roosters had already crowed, and the sun stretched its warm fingers across the small town. Traders hurried toward the market. Children carried buckets of water on their heads, and farmers set out for their fields. But in one tiny rented room, the loud sound of snoring filled the air. Kwame lay sprawled on a raffia mat, his mouth wide open, dreaming of palm wine and laughter with his friends. His wife, Akosua, had been up long before dawn. She had fetched water, cooked porridge to sell in the market, and swept the compound. Still, when she entered the room and saw her husband fast asleep, her heart sank. "Kwame," she called softly at first, "please wake up. The day is running and we need money for the rent." Kwame groaned, pulled the cloth over his head and muttered, "Hey, woman, stop disturbing me. I need my rest. God will provide." Akosua sighed heavily. "God helps those who help themselves. Our landlord said last week that if we don't pay, he would throw us out. Do you want us to sleep on the street?" Kwame sat up lazily, scratching his head. "Why fear a man when God is on the throne? You go to the market and by God's grace, things will be fine." Her eyes watered as she adjusted her wrapper. Every day, she carried the weight of their survival, while her husband only spoke empty words. She left for the market with a heavy heart, wondering how long she could endure. By noon, the small compound grew noisy. Mr. Mensah, their landlord, stormed in, his face red with anger. "Akosua," he shouted, his voice echoing through the houses. Akosua came running from the kitchen, her hands covered in flour. "Good afternoon, sir." "Afternoon. There's nothing good about it. Where is my rent? I warned you 2 weeks ago. If I don't get my money by the end of this week, you and that lazy husband of yours will sleep outside." Kwame finally stepped out, rubbing his eyes as if he had just woken from a sweet dream. "Masa Mensah, cool down. Life is not easy. We will settle you soon." "Settle me soon?" Mr. Mensah barked. "Other men are working hard to provide for their families. But you, Kwame, all you know is sleeping. I don't run a charity here. 1 week or you are gone." The neighbors gathered, whispering and shaking their heads. Akosua's cheeks burned with shame. She tried to plead, but Mr. Mensah stormed off, muttering insults. That evening, silence filled the little house. Akosua ate quietly, tears sliding down her face. Kwame pretended not to notice, though guilt gnawed at his heart. When night fell, he lay awake on the mat, staring at the ceiling. Suddenly, he heard soft voices outside the window. He crept closer, pressing his ear against the bamboo frame. What he heard made his heart race. Someone was talking about him. Kwame's eyes widened as he pressed his ear closer to the window. In the dim moonlight, he recognized the voices outside. It was neighbor Amma speaking with Akosua. "Akosua," Amma whispered, "you are killing yourself. Every day you wake before dawn, you carry heavy loads, you cook, you sell, and yet that husband of yours lies in bed like a log. Why do you still stay with him?" Akosua's voice cracked as she answered, "Amma, you think I don't ask myself the same question? I am tired, so tired. Sometimes I feel like leaving. But if I go, what will people say? They'll call me a bad wife who abandoned her marriage. Kwame's heart pounded. Leave? The thought of Akosua walking away from him was like a slap across his face. She had always been patient, always defended him, even when he didn't deserve it. Hearing her speak of leaving sent a shiver through him. But how long will you suffer like this? Amma continued. A marriage should be a partnership. If it doesn't change, you'll break down one day. Mark my words. Kwame pulled away from the window, his mind racing. For the first time, his laziness felt like a heavy chain dragging his family down. But pride stiffened his neck. Instead of rushing outside to admit his fault, he crawled back onto the mat, tossing and turning until morning. At dawn, Akosua left early again for the market, her shoulders hunched in exhaustion. Kwame sat alone in the quiet room, guilt gnawing at his heart. Just as he thought of helping her that day, loud knocks shook the door. "Open up." It was Mr. Mensah, the landlord, this time with 2 strong men. "Your rent is overdue, and I won't tolerate excuses anymore." Kwame stumbled out, stammering, "Please give us time." But before he could finish, Akosua appeared at the compound entrance, carrying a heavy basket. Her face was drenched in sweat, and her steps wobbled. Suddenly, she collapsed on the ground, the basket spilling vegetables across the dirt. "Akosua!" neighbors screamed, rushing to her side. Amma lifted her head, crying. "She has fainted. The poor woman has walked herself to death because of this man's laziness." All eyes turned to Kwame. Shame washed over him as people muttered, "Useless husband, disgraceful man." Mr. Mensah shook his head in disgust. Kwame knelt beside Akosua, his hands trembling. "Akosua, wake up, please. I will change, I promise." For a moment, panic gripped him. He realized he had pushed the woman he loved to the edge. The burden that should have been shared had crushed her instead. As neighbors fanned Akosua and tried to revive her, Kwame jumped to his feet. His eyes burned with determination. "No more sleeping, no more excuses. I know what I must do." The neighbors stared in surprise as Kwame ran off into the night, muttering about a plan that could change everything. But whether it was too late to save his marriage, no one could tell. Moral lesson: laziness steals time, respect, and love, but the moment of change may come only after great loss.